What gets you up in the morning?
The opportunity for something awesome and new to happen.
What gets you angry?
Not all that much. I mean, I get pretty angry and frustrated with myself, I think, is my main issue. I like to, if I do something that I feel is, haphazardly done, or maybe I just even forget something at my house in the morning, I get pretty angry at myself. So that gets me angry when I do something stupid.
Interesting. I've heard anger turned inward is depression.
Oh, that could be.
Does that resonate with you, or are you literally just angry, furious at yourself?
Well, no, I wouldn't say angry, but I feel like that's the times when I get the most frustrated, when I'm in a hurry, I need to be, maybe to set or working, and all of a sudden, something has happened to my vehicle, or maybe I forgot my backpack with my phone and the other things that I require for set at the house. That frustrates me quite a bit.
Okay. What's the most fun you've had in post-Moderna Santa Fe?
In post-Moderna Santa Fe.
Or post-Pfizer.
I was going to say I'm post-Pfizer, so I don't know how to feel about that. You know what I mean? Because I'm Team Pfizer, and that's okay.
I'm Team Pfizer, too.
Very nice. The most fun I've had, actually, is the Revelation concert. It was fantastic. It was a couple weeks ago. I got a chance to go to an actual live show at Atlanta Amphitheater.
Okay,
Revelation.
Revelation is the name of the...
Yeah, it's like Revolution with some sort of... rebellion involved. It's a reggae band. They're fantastic.
That's awesome. So Rachel Papauser, a previous guest, also went to Isleta, and I was like, do you know the capacity? Because she said it was sold out. So I looked it up. It's like 10 to 12,000.
It was a lot of people.
Were you sold out?
I don't know. I don't believe so. That show, I don't think, was sold out, only because they didn't have the lawn open, which I know is how they and I thought that was strange because it's COVID. And so they restricted people to a smaller area.
So silly. You're listening to Artists with Brian. I'm Brian, here with
Jeff Gonzales.
Jeff is a filmmaker. What else, Jeff?
Filmmaker. I am an audio engineer. I produce music. I make my own music digitally with Reason and Pro Tools. And yeah, I've dabbled in other fun. I've done a lot of like painting and junk like that, but that stuff always feels like it's just it's not. It doesn't catch me like music or film. It is fun to paint. It's fun to do. I like to do, when I do painting, I do mixed media, so I shove stuff on top of canvas and then I paint on that. But it never feels as it doesn't hold me for as long.
Mm-hmm. Season 3 of Artists with Brian is brought to you by HowToPlayPoker.video. 100% free. 10 hours of winning instruction. Have some fun. Learn something new. Bail on this podcast right now. Visit HowToPlayPoker.video. Jeff, let's talk film club drama for a minute. Let's get this out of the way.
Sure.
My 100 or so weekly listeners mostly come for hyperlocal gossip.
Okay, here we go.
Hyperlocal restaurant recommendations. I think, and let's be respectful here. I think actually what's going to be most interesting about this conversation, hopefully, is that we learn a little bit about the financial structure of Film Club and someone locally that's trying to grow a big organization and the pitfalls that come along the way.
Sure.
So what's going on? Because I still don't know totally.
Okay, so it's an interesting situation. The Film Club is a organization sponsored by the New Mexico Film Resource, and our goal is we're basically dedicated to creating quality content in order to support the local independent filmmaker. Basically what that means is we are a business that's allowed to take money from donations and put it towards a local independent filmmaker's project. So what we're doing right now is we work with New Mexico Film Resource. They take a percentage because they're a full 501(c)(3).
Okay.
So they take a percentage for themselves and they sponsor us to allow us to basically do our project. And then we submit our project to them and they let us know if it's going to work. And there's a few guidelines that come along with that at the moment. We do have students that come to our productions and learn how to, actually shoot a feature or even a short film.
That's amazing.
And just kind of get that traditional set flow that you might not get if you're just going to school. Again, the Santa Fe Community College has a wonderful program, and they do give you a ton of set experience.
Yeah.
But some people aren't able to take that program, so this is another way just to be able to feel your way into set and how it works.
Wow, so many intriguing things.
Sure.
So a lot of our film club members are Sfcc graduates, no?
There's a plenty of graduates from Sfcc, and there's actually a couple that are still going. And so that's kind of one of the things that we like to do, just because then we can have good contact with the students so that we can try to find people for projects whenever they want to have that experience. And the great thing is, there's so many big projects going on right now in New Mexico with Netflix, with, NBC Universal. I mean, there's a ton of shows that are filming right now, and then a lot more that are planned. But there's still a lot of local independent filmmakers that really don't know where to go with something small that maybe there's not really need for a huge budget, or they can't really get done on their own.
Yeah.
So our goal is to bring a bunch of different local artists, filmmakers, costumers, makeup design, lighting people, everyone that's in this industry to, that they're each craft is its own art form of itself. If you think about how it works on set, people are painting the backgrounds. You have to have people to, just pull electricity. It goes so deep that it's crazy to try to explain just how many people it takes to get any major production done.
It's really neat that you guys are in the middle trying to function as a facilitator. It sounds like this buzzword I've been hearing lately is public-private partnership for film financing. Do you consider the Santa Fe Independent Film Club a public or private part in that equation?
I guess we would be public. We do have an open meeting every single week. We like to have people just come together, just to meet each other. The goal of our weekly meetup, right now we're meeting at Boxcar. I believe we're going to change our weekly meetup to Saturdays, just because so many people are busy in the industry right now that Monday through Friday is not quite working at the moment.
Yeah, I came on this Thursday at like 8 p.m. I was trying to be a cool kid and showed up late and nobody was there.
We were all there. I had to run back to set. I ditched set for, don't tell, my producers, for just about half an hour. Ran over there, met some wonderful people that were actually from Kentucky and LA, working in town on different productions, and happened to be able to come that night. So
very cool.
It is very interesting. This wonderful woman, forgive me for not knowing her name at the moment, but she's a filmmaker, really independent, and she's doing documentaries. And she was trying to decide if she's moving to Santa Fe. And I told her, yes, or Albuquerque. I mean, this is where the industry is at right now. So that's what we're trying to do, is bring different people together so they can figure out projects, how to get them done, how to film their shorts, and maybe, get traction in film festivals and just get their name out there.
It's all very cool. Let's bring this back around to the hot button issue. They're like a leadership change, because your organization is poised, it seems, to produce a lot more films.
Sure.
Under an LLC, so you are going to be making money. You're going to be fundraising. You might turn a profit on some of your joint venture film projects. So is that leadership change going to happen? And how does being an LLC make that easy or hard?
The LLC is definitely a lot easier than being a 501(c)(3).
Okay.
So we had the idea of going full 501(c)(3), which is fantastic. And we do want, the thing that happens with that is it does become fully public. So you give up a lot of control over what happens with the actual business or what happens with the actual nonprofit, and it goes to a board of directors, and that changes every 4 years. And so it basically becomes for the city. And that is fantastic, but there are already so many full nonprofit organizations in New Mexico. There's the New Mexico Film Resource. It goes on and on. And so, Shoot New Mexico, there's quite a bit of them, and they all have great incentives. So we're trying to just feel our way into that community. And at this point, I feel like it's a great way to be able to play in both worlds, where we can sponsor these local independent filmmakers and really shine a light on them, but then potentially be able to actually, do larger budget projects in the future.
Okay, I respect you. The people listening that have a little bit of money that want to get involved in local film, invest in Jeff. He dodged the toughest question of the interview twice, like a swan taking a leap off a high dive. Jeff, as a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh man, that's a great question. I always wanted to, mostly I wanted to be part of the music scene when I first started. I was a DJ growing up. I had turntables. I still do have my 2 Technique 1200s and a Rain mixer and, a giant pile of vinyl, mostly hip hop, reggae, and some classic rock, good stuff, just for collecting. I somehow or other never really found my instrument other than the turntables. I did love playing and DJing and being a part of that world. So I went to audio engineering school in Vancouver.
Okay.
It was fantastic. Beautiful school.
Are you Canadian?
I am not Canadian.
Okay.
I just wanted to get away from home, as every New Mexican does if you've been from New Mexico.
You're born and raised all your life?
I'm born and raised in Santa Fe all my life, baby.
Wow.
So what usually happens with most people is they do want to go away. It's a small town.
Yeah.
And you want to go see the world, Santa Fe. But I did want to come back eventually. But Vancouver was fantastic. We had a bunch of us living in a little flat in North Vancouver. Came across the river every day. The bay every day. And it was great. We enjoyed Vancouver quite a bit. The school was fantastic. And, I kind of sputtered off when I got back and did a lot of recording for different artists, but never really got involved with the major studio or anything.
So you're a filmmaker now. Do you think that all this music experience makes you a unique director, producer, because you're orienting toward the soundtrack? Do you have like really good intuition for that part of it? So
at this point, the films that I want to make right now are very centered around some soundtracks. So, particular script that was written that's centered around New Mexico. I have a band. I want to use their entire album. I would like to have them kind of featured as the band, in and have them playing on the radio. It's just kind of a little bit of bits of callbacks to old school movies, but where we're just kind of seeing the band and we're hearing them, that same band on the radio, etc. But it's just visual filmmaking. I mean, there's a lot to filmmaking, but I always do feel like soundtracks and composers are not underrated, but it doesn't get quite as much, glamour as, let's say, the cinematography, acting, etc.
Just good, Foley sound.
Of course.
Or just good picking up of dialogue.
Absolutely.
Without ambient noise. I've seen so many independent films fall flat. Beautiful stories, really good camera setups.
Of course.
But the audio is awful.
And it kills it right away. And the best part about good audio is that you don't notice it's there. The point of, the music, of course, you want to have that emotion. You want to really be able to drive the story with the music. And that's what a good composer does. That's what good, actual soundtracks from, past, let's say Jerry Maguire and Freebird, that scene is just ridiculous. You know what I mean? He's flipping through the stupid radio and then Freebird comes on and it's like, that is the perfect song for that moment. And that, takes some thinking and time and obviously money to get somebody to let you use Freebird. But music is definitely crazy important. But if you do not have that, just everything sounds normal, you're instantaneously taken out of the reality of the film and there's nothing there. You're like, okay, all I hear is the fact that the footsteps are not on cue.
Educate me and educate people at my level in terms of film production. Are you using a shotgun, a boom? What's your choice microphone? Is it even, are lavalier mics ever used?
So standard shows are going to wire every single actor that has a line. And so that means you're going to use mostly electrosonic lavaliers. The new electrosonics are fantastic. They're going to get really decent sound. But the point, lavs are always a little tinny. You just get a sound that it's a tiny mic and it's, you're also going to maybe get some noise from a shirt. You have a good utility guy. You don't get that stuff. The utility is the person that wires actors. So they put the microphones in the packs and they hide all the stuff so that you don't see them. But mostly you want to have the audio come from the boom. The boom gives you the shotgun mic gives you 100% the best audio as long as you're close enough and you're pointing in the right direction.
So you're recording 3 audio tracks, and then what
sometimes you'll be recording 8 or 9.
So what decisions made at the editing level, or the what do you call the after editing audio finishing? How are you picking between all these tracks?
So there's actually a live mixer, and what the mixer is supposed to be doing is to be choosing which one's working the best at the time. And then he takes notes and he lets them know if there was any issues. And most of the time now, there's a lot of ADR recording in every single film. Even the best film with the best audio guys is going to have a lot of ADR recording, because it's just something happened in the background. There was a little sound there. They can't get over it, so they get the actor back in the studio. But they have the boom and the lav track so that he can hear exactly how he sounded, and he can emulate it perfectly, because you can't,
You mean the actor's going to mimic his own voice?
He has to, and they have to play it back to him, and they have to watch themselves on a screen. And usually that really helps them so that they can actually do the right, emphasis on syllables, because if you don't really say it the exact same way, it's not going to match up to the way the lips are moving on screen.
Totally. Audio matching.
It's a long process. The audio is definitely one of the harder points to get done. And for independent filmmakers, it is important for you to have a good sound guy.
Yeah. Is it worth it to pay the sound guy extra, make the shooting days an hour longer so that you avoid, it's called ADR, audio after?
Audio dialogue recording.
Yeah. Is it possible to avoid that and say, because like you and I are talking about how we would make a partnership with Film Club and some private financing to shoot a 25-minute, $2,500 film.
So what I'd say is invest in a sound guy that's confident in his capabilities and confident enough to stop rolling when something is going on with audio. Because really most of the time what happens is, especially if they're new, they won't really speak up, but really there's two people that can stop, 2 or 3 people that can stop rolling, and it goes, director, AD, camera, director, camera, wow. AD, sound.
So if I hire multi-talents, what's the minimum? I have 4 actors, 1 location. What's the minimum amount of people I can have on set? If we're trying to cover, like if one person can do 3 of these tasks, can I have 2 people, or is that too much? You just need a 3rd person, etc.
So what I'm sorry again.
What's the lowest number of people I have to pay to be on set? They might
you're
even
going to direct.
No, I'm not going to direct.
Okay, you're not.
Armando is my top choice right now. He's going to come on the show later, guys.
Yeah,
in the second
Armando's
half.
fantastic.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Great guy.
A young eye, a hip eye, very energetic.
Yep, love Armando.
Like his work is energetic. There's a vitality to it, which I'm looking forward to trying to find some synergy with.
Sure. So if he's going to direct and can use camera, is he going to do both?
Well, yeah. Like that would be one of the overlaps. And then you could be sound.
Sure.
And AD.
Sure.
And then Keith is a friend. He's hard to sell on these things, but he's so gifted as a cinematographer. I think he'd be a really good paid editor on this project.
Okay.
So it'd be like that. He wouldn't need to be on set, though, unless he wanted to.
Well, we'll figure it out. But I do feel like just regardless of when you're talking about it, camera's obviously incredibly important. That's one of your firsts. Your director, your AD, and sound. You really don't want... people always try to skimp on sound for some reason, and it will ruin your film faster than you can...
As writer-producer, that's like why I would want someone like you involved.
Sure.
Like, totally, because I just know my producing hat.
Yeah, and
sound is so important. Yeah, so they don't notice it's there. So they can fall into your story, because it's probably going to be a decent story poorly told, like your first time out as a
and if
filmmaker.
you just have that one bit where it's like the sound's not right,
you can't kneecap yourself.
And that's, since I've been into audio engineering for the longest time and everything, I catch myself going a little overboard on some people's projects, like really like fine-tuning it, but it's because I have a good ear. I do turn it up very loud to make sure that if it was blasting in the theater, that you wouldn't catch whispers in the background, or there's a lot of stuff that happens, and that's why it's also important to have an incredibly good editing and post sound team, both on the editing end for the
I would try to hook you up. I'd try to pay you a combination of revenue tied bonuses and like a modest wage to try to tie you into be both sound guy in production and post sound guy.
Sure,
because it's like, why do you want to mess with the art? You want some continuity.
Yeah.
But we could see if we could work that out. I have no idea.
It's fun. It's exciting that you got a project coming up.
It's so exciting. Yeah. I'm gonna write 30 pages because I know that I want to shoot a 30-minute film and I want the final cut to be 25. That's one way we can make a better movie here than we otherwise would. We're gonna. So people listening, we're going to do our normal 40-minute episode. It's going to be formatted. We're about to play a game. And then because we're celebrating the midway point of the 3rd season of Artists with Brian, and we've got a lot of momentum, and I'm going to take the GRE, we're going to run long after the close of the show. Back to the interview. Jeff, what advice would you give your 15-year-old self?
Oh, man, just to try to keep stuff in front of you. You know, sometimes you don't realize that it's a long process. Do you know what I mean? So I think early on, 15-year-old Jeff was giving up on stuff before he got a chance to get it going, you know? I think it's easy to get impatient with something when it's not working right away. And it's really about just keeping your head down and moving forward, keeping that dream in front of you and making it happen. So yeah, I think that's what I'd say.
That's gorgeous. I heard someone last night say that they're at a point in their life where failures that would incapacitate them for weeks or months and like cause a depression 10 years ago, they're just so used to it. And I think I feel real grown up right now, if I could be immature about this. Sure. Real grown up, because I've failed so much over the last 10 years. Like small setbacks. That's what life's about. Life's a tragedy. And you just keep hunting, walking, planting seeds for the silver linings.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you make a life out of those.
Yeah. And some things, and you just try to learn from everything that doesn't go right, make it better the next time.
So when you're 15, just don't take your failure so seriously. 10 years from now, you're going to be like, wow, that's just a rainy day. That's not a big deal at all.
Yep.
What's the story of your first big film project you shared with the world? This might be like back to 10 years old, so...
Oh, wow. Well,
big to you.
I would say the one that was the biggest to me, just because I got to see it in a theater at a film fest, was Shanghai Bunny the Curse. So me and my writing partner, Michael Barella, he's also a sound guy. You know, we get along incredibly well because we're always, when we first met, we were volunteering for the union, setting up live audio, different places, you know, doing... projectors and setting up films for them, just being their audio AV guys, doing whatever they needed to do. So we became very good friends, and we started working on a film. It was one of my very first films that I worked on as a boom operator. John Moritsugu's Numbskull Revolution, which is yet to come out, but he's editing it. Going to be a fantastic movie. He's calling it his magnum opus. He's a great filmmaker. You should definitely look up John Moritsugu. Kind of a legend in the punk filmmaking community. He had us on, and we started with this bunny. It's like a stuffed animal. Mm-hmm. And I'm a very big comedy guy, so he just like tied a noose to the bunny's neck and hung it over the railing, and I filmed it on my iPhone.
Wow. And
from that concept, we made a short film called The Curse of 1,000 Hairs.
Yeah.
And it's basically the bunny self-animates when we're not around. We're a low-budget sound team, and he tries to kill himself at the end of every episode because he's so freaking angry and depressed that he's living with our terrible sound team.
That's awesome.
So the first one, that was the first one. I didn't get to share that with the world.
Twist on a cliche, by the way. Overdone in independent film is suicide.
Of course.
But I love the treatment.
Of course.
It's brilliant.
Well, you know, it's fun because it's a stuffed animal and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and you started with an evocative shot, which is also, as a screenwriter, how I start movies.
Sure.
Very good.
And then we went with the sequel, which we actually entered into a film festival and got to see at the Santa Fe Film Festival, which was definitely I was like, wow, that's the first thing I've got to share with people. I looked around. This one was called Shanghai Bunny the Curse. It's the origin story. So we go back from before he was with the sound team, and he's being made in Shanghai. He's cursed by, a drunken worker in a sweatshop.
Oh, yeah.
And then he gets shipped to us. We pick him up and we take him to our first movie set. And it's a mayonnaise commercial. And the actor dies and his soul is transferred into the bunny. Oh, wow. And so we get to see how the bunny started.
I thought you were going to say the actor dies and the director needs a fill-in, so he hires the bunny on the spot.
Very nice. No. The bunny just happens to be kind of offset.
That's funny.
And the actor chokes on the mayonnaise sandwich, and we just all kind of are oblivious because we're doing our jobs as film people.
Yeah.
As you are when you're on film. This is the scene, obviously. He's dying. But he actually chokes to death, and then the bunny is now cursed with his soul inside. Nonetheless, it was fantastic to be able to see it on a big screen. We got laughs where I thought we needed the laughs. People applauded. I felt like we did a great job. It was amazing. So that felt like my first big film showcase to the world, which was
Beautiful.
great.
So kind of your biggest accomplishment, but also your debut at the same time.
Yeah, no, I've had some. I think I've had stuff that I like a little more now. I think Chico's is a little more.
Oh, perfect. Hold the story.
Sure.
We're gonna take a little break to play a game, and we'll come back.
Ooh, game time.
This game is called Jonesin' for Indiana Jones.
I am jonesing for
because
him.
I learned off camera that Jeff is a huge fan of the Indiana Jones trilogy. So today we're playing for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade on VHS. It's good enough to play. I have faith that this plays. The tape is actually in some sort of packaging today. It's taped with some office tape. God bless you.
Please.
And I didn't want to break the office tape off. I mean, it's definitely highly used, but at some point someone put the office tape on. So I thought that added to some value. So we're playing for...
Because it doesn't slide out of the case when you hold it now.
Yeah, we're playing for somewhere between a lightly and heavily used copy of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So all the questioning today, I went deeper than just filmmaker. I went Indiana Jones fan.
Oh,
and
man.
specifically the Last Crusade.
Oh, man. All right.
First question, you got to go 3 for 3 to win this copy. And I made the game really hard because, guys... Jeff has the trilogy on VHS already.
I do.
So I made the game very hard. First question, what year, plus or minus 1? First question's the easiest. You just have to come within 1 year. Did the Last Crusade come out? What year did the Last Crusade come out?
I'm so bad at the timelines.
But think about it.
Okay, hold on.
Because you have a good chance here.
I want to say 87.
89.
Oh, so
You're
close.
just outside of the window. So we'll play for the fun of the audience. I'm so glad I get to give
1983,
this.
so I didn't watch these until the 90s. So it's hard for the timelines.
Yeah.
That's
no
when I
worries.
was born.
You were close, man.
Damn.
I made the game hard for you. Second question. We're playing for laughs now. In the joy of trivia, he was nominated but did not win a British Film Academy Award. He was nominated but did not win a British Film Academy Award for his Last Crusade, quote, supporting role.
I want to say Sean Connery.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Too bad you got the first one wrong.
I'm going to get... Am I not
Last
get the
one's
third
always
one?
the hardest.
You're giving it
I'm
to
going to
me
give you the hardest one just to see, hypothetically, if you got the easy one, can you get the ultra, ultra, ultra hard one? Jeffrey Boehm received screenplay by credit. Steven Spielberg received directed by credit. Name one of the 2 men who received story by credit on The Last Crusade. Name one of 2 men who received story by credit on The Last Crusade.
Oh, man. That's a tough one.
Just playing for pride, man.
I want to say...
As a fan of the franchise.
Yeah, I'm not the deep cut guy. I want to say Sean Connery. I think he had some.
What?
I want to say he had some sort of role in there.
In story by?
Yeah, no.
This one's gonna make you mad. George Lucas.
Oh, that would have made a lot of sense to me.
He got hooked up probably by Steven Spielberg.
See, I was just thinking sometimes the actors get a little weird on the back end, and he seems like that guy that'd be like, I want to,
That's
I
hilarious.
want to add to this.
Yeah, I was in 2 meetings. Give me some credit. Pay me some money.
Remember when I said that thing about my line?
Yeah, exactly. Remember when I was sitting on the couch looking out at the sun
so
for
you
a while?
win. What do I have to give you now? We didn't discuss the
there's
perils of this game show. Don't you throw me off a staircase or
you
something?
you owe me a cigarette when we take a break between the A and B roll of this 1 hour and 15-minute extended episode to celebrate the halfway point of season 3.
Ooh, congratulations, by the way. I'm very excited.
Cheers to that again.
I'm drinking out of the Artist with Brian mug, which is awesome. Forgive me.
Rachel Papauser Art.
At Rachel Papauser Art. I'm going to check this out. She can just do this onto all my mugs with different things if I wanted it, correct?
Yeah, and check out her mugs. My assumption is that she was able to send me that mug in 3 days.
That is
from
fantastic.
appearing on my show because she already is printing up mugs with her artwork.
It does have his face on it, his lovely smiling face.
Yeah, she gave me some really
wonderful.
a nice keepsake portrait that I couldn't take myself of me at the mic, which is really nice of her.
That's good because you never know what you look like when you're in front of the mic.
The host's not celebrated enough. My name's in the title, but
know,
that's about it,
that's
right?
all.
And
That's
I
all.
talk half the time.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a mug.
Yeah, it really seems like we should do more for you.
Okay, so back to your film accomplishments. We heard about the first big one, but what's the one that's now creeping in as you get older? You're like, yeah.
So I really like the one I did recently last year during the pandemic. I guess it just got something about the fact that there was really nothing. There was no other way we could get it done. We were out on a farm in El Guique at Casados Farms. with Peter Casados, and his family came to New Mexico in the 1600s, and they got a land grant, and they've lived in the same general area since then, and he taught us how to make chicos, which is a very northern New Mexico traditional dish. Chicos is a particular type of corn. They usually use concha corn, which is like very big, long kernels. And then what they do is they steam them in the horno. So they, all day for a full 12 hours, will actually have a fire going in the horno just to get the horno hot enough. After, the entire day of the horno being fired, they pull all the coals out. So he actually pulls up like a tractor. They pull all the coals out of this horno, and then they throw all the corn. Once the coals are out, they throw all the corn into the horno. They seal it off with like mud, and then they wait till the next morning and they pull it all out.
Wow.
And it's amazing. The flavor is just fantastic. It's this whole, kind of smoky mesquite part of the corn. After they do that, they dry it out for a month and a half.
Wow.
In the sun. And they turn it every day.
And so did you make a documentary about this?
I did, yes. And it's called Chicos, a Northern New Mexico tradition.
Available on YouTube?
It is not at the moment. We're actually shopping it around, and we're going to see what we're going to do with it. So we've been a little slacker on it, but we're hoping to maybe pull PBS Los Colores or something.
Yeah. I like some of their videos.
Happy to show it to you, obviously.
Okay.
I do have it, on a hard drive and all that good stuff, and at the editing bay at the station. So it's a great little, documentary about something that's definitely not getting done as much. There's not a lot of people that are doing it in the traditional way like Peter does. Most people do it where they boil it now, and it just does not give it the flavor. But you have to dry it out, and then what people do is they cook it a lot like pozole. So you've had pozole being in New Mexico by now.
By 7 years, yeah.
Tons of pozole at this point. So it's very similar, except for it doesn't puff up the same. It just remains like these kind of like rehydrated corn kernels that add a really nice smoky flavor to. Wow. People usually make red chili and chicharrones.
And it's a staple. It's a way to get a lot of carbohydrates, sustenance.
Sure. Yeah, it's good stuff.
But it sounds super flavorful.
Yeah.
Better than steamed rice.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Or boiled pasta.
Sure. It's good stuff. It's very, some people don't like it. I don't know. It's a particular taste.
Amazing. So what's your split between narrative work, docs / commercials? I mean, advertising work. What? Yeah.
Advertising work, I haven't done. I mean, I've done plenty of like sound and boom ops for advertising stuff, but I haven't done a lot. I mean, we've done some volunteer work with the film club. We worked on a Pecos to Pecos river cleanup. So we just did some drone shots with Armando, who did a fantastic job.
Nice.
It's at Armando Hernandez, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's make him the first guest after the hiatus. Let's try to lobby him for that.
That'd
be so fun to connect these two episodes.
Oh, absolutely. So he got his drone. We went to the Pecos River. We got some wonderful shots. We did some shots of people picking up trash, both on the road and on the river, because what's happening is from Pecos, New Mexico, all the way down to Pecos, Texas. They're doing a big push for the river cleanup. I think it actually just happened like a couple days ago. I think it was September.
Wow.
August 28th.
It's a beautiful river. I'm
today.
so glad this type of stuff is organized.
Yeah.
And you're trying to proliferate like the news. You're trying to share this with the whole state.
Oh, yeah. It's great. It's a great thing. And the main thing is that, that's our one like really beautiful river that we can all enjoy. There's a lot of rivers, the Rio Grande, obviously, but that one, it's mostly clear water.
Yeah.
You can fish in it, you can swim in it, and it's, why not try to make it good the whole way?
I presume it's undamped, which is actually really remarkable these days in the United States. Mm-hmm. Like the Gila, however you cut it, I've heard both, is famous for being one of the longest undammed rivers in the U.S.
Sure.
And then the Animas up in Durango, which people might actually remember got polluted from a silver mining site. And
that went
yellow.
All the way down through Farmington. I mean, so that does run into New Mexico.
And that was like such a scourge because it's one of the U.S.'s longest undammed rivers. So I got us way off track. Oh yeah, no, we're totally in the zone because you did a documentary on the Pecos.
Yeah.
Does the Pecos get deep enough? Like, does it ever get 5-6 feet deep enough to swim? Like frolic?
There's a few places, yeah, for
There
sure.
are?
Yeah,
Neat.
it's
I
pretty
gotta
quick
go.
most of the way though, so
Yeah.
the Rio Grande, there's a lot of great places, where you can take like,
Oh, yeah.
so we used to live in Albuquerque in the Algodones area, and you can be in Algodones and get into the river. Just pardon me for smashing the mic there. You can get into the river and take a floaty, and it takes like 4 hours to get to Albuquerque. It's a 15-minute drive, but it's just so slow. It's like a lazy river. So, definitely layer up on the sunscreen and the
Wow.
hats.
I never thought of that. Go south for a better tubing experience.
It's just real slow, the Rio Grande down there.
Totally right. I got to do that. Is there a season still? Can I get in? Is it deep enough down there?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't been there in a bit, but I'm pretty sure this time of year it's fine. We've been getting plenty of rain
I
this
got to
year.
look that up because
Yeah.
I have been drinking a few beers lately on the weekends. So why not do it
Yeah.
and get sunburned?
Yeah, that seems like the best way.
And
Dehydrate,
smell cow
sunburn,
shit.
and
Probably
smell.
like down south Albuquerque. There's a lot of,
There's some cows. It's not that bad.
but like it irrigates an entire farm industry the whole way to the border. It's
Yes, it
pretty
does.
amazing.
It is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then they're just starting
In
to.
the desert.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a desert surface river. It's like the Nile. I don't know. Why the fuck do you drink Coors Light at film club?
Oh, just so I don't get drunk.
Okay, so it's like a session beer to you.
Yeah, let's see. The other day I had 2 7Ks because I was just going to be there and gone.
Yeah, that's why you guys left so early. I can't believe I missed it. I felt like my life's getting a little out of control. Like I drank 2 whiskeys before film club to save money.
Normally,
Yeah.
like 7:30 is when like everyone kind of shows up.
Yeah.
But and that's again why I think we're moving to Saturdays, guys. I'm going to double check with the boxcar this week,
That's cool.
and I just think that'll be more easy for anyone. That's
Well, change the time too. Make it 5 to 7 because then
a little longer.
it can turn into an after party itself, but also a bunch of people will come and then go hit downtown to the rail yard for their own thing.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
It's good gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think Saturday is better anyway.
But do 5.
Yeah, for
Do
sure.
5 to 7.
All right.
And I'll come at 7.
You'll come right at
And then walk
7:45.
with a crew somewhere. I'm like the Pied Piper.
Very nice. I like it.
If you come with me, you won't find your way home. What good luck has brought you to this point in your life?
I've had a lot of good luck, man. Just being fortunate enough to be born in the United States and not in a third world country is about all you really.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and then I was raised with work ethic. Even though I don't like have a highfalutin, high-powered job, I've never had an issue with keeping a job or getting employment. And I've had anytime I get a job, people are usually happy with my work ethic. So I've been lucky enough to have that influenced on me because I think that's helped me out a lot.
I just picked up a job.
Nice.
I feel very lucky.
Love it.
I was trying to front like this podcast was making me money, but now I get to gladly say I was rehired by my alma mater.
Nice.
Second Street Brewery.
Love Second Street. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so I'll be managing Rufina
Oh, that's awesome. Brother.
Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Do you know that's where Film Club used to meet?
Yeah, I know. I was a busboy at that time, and then I was a bar back, and then I was a bartender there, and then I had this real nice 9-month career before COVID as the weekend bartender at the original. The
Very
Oldery.
nice. At the Oldery.
Yeah,
Cool.
Real people, real fans know to call it the Oldery, the
Of
old
course.
old brewery.
Yeah, the Oldery.
Yeah, and so now I moved up. I moved up in I don't know, responsibility, but down in stress. Managing a restaurant once you've done every other job in a restaurant is like playing a video game. I've really enjoyed it so far. Even at an emergency on my first shift, I had like a lady who swore.
I think, yeah, that's
I
good.
won't give the details because she might be a fan of the show, but swore that she always got a dish one way, and she was very upset that we couldn't do that for her today, even though that just was not true.
Sure. Yeah,
So
that happens.
So I had a little bit. I had to take over from my bartender,
Oh,
who had already had 5 hours of her time wasted by this lady. So I was like, yeah, this is what management is about. It's not.
Yeah, I've managed a restaurant before.
It's the right
Oddly
thing
enough.
at the right time, and sometimes
it's
that's
a hard job.
Sometimes it's busting a table that hasn't been bussed in a minute.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
not just sitting in the office. So I mean, that was my thing when I managed. Is like, I'm here to help you. Like when you're drowning, I will hop in. When you need a little of this, I'll do that.
Yeah, and I don't have to close the restaurant. I get to leave before all the like hard work of the night starts, which is
Sweet.
just such a luxury. You get paid less than being a bartender, and that's why, partly.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So I don't
Bartending's
know.
good.
I guess
Congratulations, nonetheless.
I'm
We're
figuring
lucky
out how
for-
to talk more
We're
about
lucky for many
myself.
things.
But we share this idea that maybe always being employed is like this beautiful thing.
It is
And,
anytime.
and even you do go on stretches, maybe 3 months where you can't find something, and then you're talking with your friend and you find out that you're doing him a favor
Sure.
by covering someone that just got fired.
Sure.
So
Wow, I know.
Yeah,
I know that.
it just happens. No, you don't. We're not going to talk about
Anyways,
people that get fired on this show. We'll talk about
tell me, art.
the dirty laundry of Film Club. We'll
This
try
guy,
to.
he still wants to delve into dirty
It's
laundry.
just
There's
so
no dirty
meaty
laundry.
because I love the guy. I hope he comes back. But you're talking about how it could get complicated because you're trying to invest in films, and
We'll see.
I shouldn't be talking about this publicly, but I'm trying to make good radio. I'm the Jerry Springer of Santa Fe today.
Sure.
I'm trying to make good radio. I hope he shows up, like beating down the door. He would never do that.
Yeah, he's in South Dakota.
Oh,
So we'll see.
You ended up talking about it. There you go. So it's a clue. Probably like 2 of our listeners now know who Jeff is talking about. Look at you.
What? Who do we know?
Got
Who
you
are we
out of your
talking about?
shell.
Who
2
are we talking
whiskeys
about?
in.
Two whiskeys
Someone in
in.
South Dakota. Now I said it. Let's go to the clay pot. Let's get ourselves out of hot water.
What is the clay
Dude,
pot?
it's a collection.
What's in the clay pot?
It's a collection of fan questions.
Okay. Oh, fans write in questions?
One fan has.
That's
I'm
exciting.
really trying to lobby my fan base. I know there's over 100 people that listen to every episode. So those people definitely should be going on artistwithbrian.com with spelled out all one word and leaving anywhere a comment, a DM, a question for a future artist. It goes
Sweet.
in the bucket, has a chance of getting pulled out randomly. And I do shout out your Instagram.
Nice. Let's do it. I'm excited.
That was a long sales pitch. What brought you to Santa Fe?
I was born here, so my mom and my dad.
How long did they precede you by?
We've been here for 3 generations previously. So I think my grandpa but I think my great grandpa was from here as well, but I'm not totally sure.
Wow.
So the 3, yeah.
Red or green?
Christmas.
Was that a sacrilegious turn? I just wanted to know.
I
wanted to know. You're fourth generation.
I'm born and raised in New Mexico, so I will tell you this. It really depends, man. I can go either way. It depends on the restaurant. Red chili is very particular for me. So most of the time, I will go with green chili as a stand-up because it's mostly better made as a standard than red chili.
Yeah.
Red chili can be made from powder, and that's not fantastic.
It's also all over the map between sweet and spicy.
Well, red chili needs to be made from pods. Okay.
And
for me, I need it extra hot. I like hot red chili. Yeah. So I need hot pods, and it cannot be made to powder. So there's a way you cook it. You put the pods in the pot, you boil them, you wait till they're nice and soft. You put it in a blender with garlic and water from the pot and your chili, and you make it into a lovely sauce. And you have to also strain the damn skin out. Okay. Without that, it's really hard. So there's a lot of places that don't strain the skin. I'm not on board with your red chili. A lot of places that make it from powder. Not on board with your red chili. Most places make green chili good. So, most of the time I say green, but if you can make a fire red chili, I'm on board. Red.
Hire Jeff to make a commercial for your business. Also hire him as a chili consultant to go shopping with you.
100%.
For roasted green chili during harvest season, or chili powder in the off season. Or whatever's good. Next fan question that I wrote. The book you recommend to young artists.
Well, I like anything from Jack Kerouac for a young artist.
Oh, wow. You're the first person to mention fiction, so props.
He does some beatnik writing where he's on the road. You know what I'm talking about, Jack
Parse
Kerouac?
that for me, because I've read On the Road. But you're saying he'll write like prose, nonfiction prose?
Well, I'm sorry. You said fiction.
Yeah.
I put non in front of it. Gotcha.
Yeah, you're the first person that's mentioned a novel, I believe.
Oh yeah,
which is really, really cool.
Yeah, no, Big Sur is just one of my favorites. You know what I mean? There's something about that time period that I love. Films from that time period. I'm comedy, but Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I mean, that has enough comedy in there for me, a little bits of it. But one of my all-time favorite movies. It's just that time period when stuff was so strange. And I guess really, dear God, what am I saying? We're 2021, fucking how many years through, excuse me for the curse, into a pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
And
well, I think the world always appears to us as strange as it's ever been.
Sure.
One weird stat is it's something like 16% of the people that have ever lived are living right now. Like that's how much the exponential curve of population.
Wow.
That's how it functions. Like most people that have ever lived in eternity, you could go meet. You can go talk to them right now. It's weird. It's like the present moment is all of history.
Because we continually get bigger. Until we start, population actually starts declining. That won't.
It
that
will.
Be, sure.
It will naturally. We don't need to control population. Look at the trouble China's in.
Right.
They have nobody to support like an aging bulge in their demographic makeup. It's
agreed.
It's sad and it's so obvious. Why didn't they see it coming? I don't know. Would you take a one-way trip to Mars?
Wow, that's a great question.
One way, like it might be beyond the length of your life that they'll figure out the technology to send you back, but there'll be new arrivals all the time.
I would I'd probably say no. I'm not that. I would maybe. I mean, if I was in a desperate situation, but I kind of feel like I'm enjoying making some movie. I guess I'd make an epic Mars film, but how do I get it back?
That's good. You're happy in your life. I think that's what this question is actually sort of brilliant psychology.
How do I get my Mars movie back? Like if I was I would maybe to make the movie.
Well, you'd make an Earth movie about like some guy who finds his way back through space before we have the technology to be the first guy ever to turn to Earth.
The quality is gonna be terrible. The bit download's not gonna happen right. I'm gonna lose all kinds of scenes, and the transfer dude's gonna be terrible.
Oh God, I'm sorry to our audience. We're falling out of a hot air balloon and our parachutes aren't pulled yet.
They're open.
Yeah, we're gracefully
falling.
Weaving our way down to the
We got another question.
The arid desert. How would your enemies criticize you, Jeff?
Oh man, that's great. That's a deep one.
It's one of my favorites.
Oh wow. Okay, let's see. Maybe. Wow, that's hard. That's
it's
like
way
you make
better
me look in depth.
It's
man.
way better than what's your weakness.
Sure.
Because it's trite and people get defensive. But this one's fun. You get to role play. Like if someone were trying to be mean to you and exaggerate.